And I'm aware that at the camp in Germany, I believe that the athletes were made to sign a code, of conduct about behavior, all of that. Unfortunately, Ofili was never at that camp. Unfortunately, she was never at that camp. When I sought to find out, I think she had maybe a competition. She was, so she was never at that camp. But there's a code of conduct. It's a different thing altogether. And essay, the federation sought the permission of the ministry to allow her to continue her training in Spain instead of joining the foreign camp in Germany. It's in terms of level of communication. I remember when they says matter came up yesterday, and people sought for my position as to what SA had posted. And they wanted it quick. And I said, my response won't be as quick. I'll need to find out what's going on, what happened. And the first person I called, I spoke with the president of her federation. And he told me he himself was in shock and that he doesn't understand why she did that post. Which is why after I got some bits of more details, I issued a statement on that. And I said that she had been grossly misunderstood because even her post too didn't capture the proper context within which it happened. But like you also admitted, it does appear that at all times, and especially in sports, it is the bad news. It is the negative one. It's like people are just determined to just wait. They just go look for it. Whether, no matter how it is, even if it's not as, they want to tweak it to make it as bad, but that's what it is. Sam, we talked about plans for the national sporting. Okay. The ministry, a few months ago, organized the first ever, I would say, National Council on Sports. It took place in Enugu. And of course, you guys understand, national councils in the different sectors. So this was the first time it was happening for sports. One of the things that was agreed, actually, one of the memos that was presented by the ministry, that memo was by the ministry, was for the creation, the establishment of a national sports infrastructure commission. That was agreed, that memo passed council, and that memo is part of the recommendations of the resolutions of that council. In terms of national policy, of course, you know that the government of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, deliberated and, passed the national sports industry policy. So the problem is not the policy. There's a policy in place. And the new administration of our president actually stated that it was going to fully implement that policy. I think what remains perhaps is to see the possibilities of turning that policy to a law, a national sports law, which we don't have, which I think that we need to have, because it's going to tie up quite a lot of things and be able to have something that, policy is policy, and law is law. Our hope is that we'll be able to see how we can, have a national sports law that can govern and guide. There are sectors that have benefited from such. The power sector reform bill came in quite handy, for the power sector. The gains may not have started, may not have come yet. The communications act, so a lot of this, I think that sports, especially how much it matters, more than deserves, to have a national sports law. Duro, you talked about the Ofili case and not sweeping under the carpet. I mean, it's I don't say things that I don't do, and I'm as bothered and I'm as concerned about the case. I mean, and the level of engagement that I've had in itself should suggest the fact that I'm not one to return to Nigeria after the Olympics and to just keep quiet about it. I think that I'm determined, and the ministry is determined to get to the bottom of this. You know, who is it that must take responsibility about, you know, the Ofili matter? Somebody must take responsibility. Somebody must be the one that caused it, whether somebody or whether people. You know, because, okay, you try the best that you can. You try to make sure that, because when you come to an Olympics, every news that is generated, first the world is a global, how much more when the entire world is concentrated in one place. So every bad news doesn't do the country well. And I'm glad one of you has admitted and appreciated the fact that for the first time, the ministry made sure it avoided the pitfalls of the past Olympics. And we did, okay, the Ofili post, the first one that came, underscored how in 2020, a number of them couldn't take part because they had not done their out of competition. You know, for this Olympics and for this ministry, not only did we make sure that that wasn't the problem, for the first time, we got the president to send a bill on anti-doping, and the Senate and the House of Reps both passed that bill. You know, so we pursued it to that point. So you do all of this, and then somebody somewhere, you know, does something that gives us the first negative. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it's not something. It's inexcusable, and I think that we're going to get back. Even if past things like this happen, and then people go home and keep quiet. We won't keep quiet this time. You know, people have tried to call me. They set up that, and I'm going to look at it the next couple of days before I go back to Nigeria. Even if I have to be the one to sit down there as chairman and interview the people and interrogate and know what's the problem and know what it is. If I don't think I trust anybody enough, I will do so, because Nigerians deserve to know what happened to that situation, that we allowed it to happen and it cost us what it did. I mean, it even gives her the excuse to now say that she didn't make it because of, you know, and you can't argue, you know, otherwise, you know, about it. You know, yeah. So thank you.